Okay, college basketball fans, we got 4 games in the books on a Thursday night of the Sweet 16, with 4 more coming in the Sweet 16 on Friday. And it's great to be back on the college basketball coast to coast platforms as we do the show live in the recap mode late night Thursday night, now actually into early Friday morning Eastern time. Great to be with you on YouTube, on Twitter X, on Facebook. Perhaps you're hearing us after the fact on podcast through Apple, Spreaker, Spotify, all the podcast outlets, and even on the TuneIn streaming channel. This here is the recap of what went on Thursday in San Jose, California, and Houston, Texas. I am merely the somewhat capable host, TJ Rives. Hello, Jason Powers. Good to be back with you as we hang out here in the Tampa Bay area. And we have watched the basketball in 2 locations across the country tonight. I think we will start. Welcome. Good to have you. We will start with big night for the Big Ten. Not 1, not 2, but 3 Big Ten wins this evening. Purdue did it dramatically earlier in the night. Iowa, a comeback in the final 4 or 5 minutes in Houston to beat their fellow Big Ten team, Nebraska. And then a dominant performance really by Illinois the whole second half with Houston. Big night for the Big Ten. Good to have you, Jason.
How many of us had Iowa, Illinois in the Elite Eight, and not Florida, and everybody
no
having
Florida,
and
no Houston,
even making it to the weekend?
no upset-minded Vanderbilt. None of them. Florida Vanderbilt didn't even get to Houston. Houston, homestanding team. So much for that advantage, right? Tonight with Illinois, you're right. I don't think there's many brackets that had an Iowa Illinois regional final in Houston.
Though I believe you and I have been high on the Illini for a while now. We thought that game was not going to be an automatic with Houston winning. We commented on that last weekend, that Illinois is balanced, diversified, big, and can make shots. And they weathered the storm in the, but they put it on Houston really good in the second half.
All right, let me set the table that in a few moments we will be joined here by our Western guru, our Western Bureau Chief, Matt Zimick of UCLA Bruins Wire, as well as college basketball coast to coast. He will be on board to talk up what Arizona has done. They're still scoring, by the way, as we do this live. We're in the final couple of minutes in San Jose, and Arizona literally has 108 points while we do the show live, and the game ain't over yet. With what the 1 seed has done to Arkansas, we thought Arkansas would have trouble defensively, and as advertised, Arizona has dump trucked them tonight. So Matt will talk about that game and the other action tonight. And then Tyler Jones is also due to be with us. Love his insight. He is live, Jason OL, on location in Houston, where the 2 big teams have won tonight. As Iowa again beat Nebraska in the first game, and then Illinois has won the nightcap. So thus it guarantees a Big Ten team into the Final Four. So Tyler will be here in a little bit. Let's don't bury that the fantastic finish of the night is the Purdue last-second win on the tip-in against Texas, as the Longhorns were valiant. This was a first 4 team that had already beaten the 6 seed BYU, had beaten the 3 seed Gonzaga. They went toe-to-toe with the 2 seed. Purdue just ends up making one more play at the end. Jason, what were your thoughts?
This was a game of balance versus isolation. I mean, you saw the balance of Purdue, 5 guys in double figures. They don't care who scores, really. Gritty experience. They got 3, 4-year seniors in Lawyer, in Smith, and Kaufman-Wren. And again, give Texas credit. Tremont Mark had a tremendous night with 29, but he was their offense. I mean, he was the main man. Volkatitis was in foul trouble most of the night, so he didn't play as aggressively as maybe he normally would have. But give Purdue all the credit. They could have. They had that ticky-tack 3-point play at the end of the game that gave Houston an opportunity to tie the game. But again, when it came to crunch time in the last possession, Braden Smith drove to the lane, and I was shocked. The Houston guy did not even jump on the missed shot. The defender who was trying to box out TKR didn't even jump.
Yeah, and didn't box out Trey Kaufman-Wren either, who got the tip in with a second left. And let us not forget, it was Houston beating Purdue a year ago in Indianapolis in the final couple of seconds to knock them out in the Sweet 16. Now you bounce back with a lot of the same players and get a Purdue last-second win in San Jose. So they are in the Elite Eight for the second time in 3 years, went to the Final Four 2 years ago. and they will now play the Arizona Wildcats. It has gone final with Arizona finishing off Arkansas. What a titanic 1-2 in that matchup for Saturday. But again, valiant effort from Sean Miller's team. Tremont Mark, the sixth-year player that had formerly been at Houston, had a big night shooting the ball. You mentioned Boca Titus in the middle. They made some big shots down the stretch of this game, but in the end, Purdue just made more plays. Smith with a big bucket late. Fletcher Lawyer a couple of big threes, and then the big tip in. So tip of the hat to Matt Painter's team. They are in, and again, they will play Arizona in the matchup coming on Saturday now in the regional final. Let's touch on Iowa. You and I saw them courtside Sunday night knock off the top seed Florida. Yep. They were in some trouble down by 10 to Nebraska, who was bombing the threes in the first half. Both these teams combined 14 made threes in the first half. High-level offensive game. How and why did Iowa get it done in the comeback in the second half, Jason?
Iowa just kept hanging in the game, and Nebraska was up early, double digits, really in the first couple of minutes, and it was back and forth in the first half. Then, in about the 5 or 6 minutes into the second half, Nebraska extended that lead back to 10. But Sturts kept making plays. The kid Coke, the big man, made a couple of threes. They just hung around and hung in there. Remember, this is the third time they've played each other. First two times were very close in the Big Ten regular season. And then at the end, Sturts made the plays. He hit a couple of shots. He set up a couple of guys. I mean, Sturts was the difference in the game the last 4.5, 5 minutes.
Well, then we saw our guy, the Spaniard, Alvaro Folgueras, who's known forever for the big three to beat Florida. You and I had experience with him last year when he played for Robert Morris College in the Horizon League championship game. He was one of the stars of that team that got the automatic bid. We worked the game live on TuneIn. Came to Iowa, obviously, in the transfer portal. He had several big plays tonight, including the play that is going to be scrutinized. It already has been, where late in the game, up by 3, inexplicably, Nebraska doesn't have 5 guys on the floor after the timeout. It was weird, Jason, because Rick Mass, the big man, was standing over at the scorer's table like he was trying to check in. So what that says to me is whoever he was checking in for didn't remember I'm still supposed to be in the game. And so they're over on the bench, and Iowa realizes it as they blow the whistle to inbound the ball. And Folgueras puts his hand up and just runs long because they have one less defender. And he gets a run-out dunk, a foul, and a 3-point play to make it a 6-point game. It wasn't the final play of the game, but that was a dagger moment, and what a gaffe for Fred Hoiberg, his staff, their players, all of it, not realizing they didn't have 5 guys on the floor for that.
And I would say this from officiating a lot of different sports. That's as much of a gaffe on the officiating crew, too. The officiating crew should not let that play start if Iowa doesn't have 5 guys on the court. Somehow,
if Nebraska doesn't have 5 guys.
Nebraska. Right. That's a poor job of officiating. I know it's technically not their job to do that,
right?
But you figure out a way to subtly tell Hoiberg you ain't got 5 on the court.
Yeah,
get a 5th guy on the court. So
it was weird, and he took responsibility, Hoiberg, after the game and said no excuses. He said, I've never had that happen before. He goes, I've never seen it allowed to go on, but that's not an excuse. He said that. He said that's not an excuse. That's on us. And again, Iowa had made enough plays in and around that where it did not decide the game.
They were already up 3, I believe. I think they were
up 3. It helped them put it away. But, I mean, for Ben McCollum, what a last 4 or 5 days now to get this win over top-seeded Florida, and they get the win over Nebraska. And it is the first time in the Elite Eight. Are you ready for this? Because you and I were kind of going over some Iowa big-name basketball players and the nostalgia, having fun with that.
Is this Dr. Tom Davis?
This is Dr. Tom Davis and the 87 Iowa Hawkeyes. Are you ready? That's the last Elite Eight team. Are you ready? B.J. Armstrong is on that team that we were joking about.
That, yeah.
Brad Lohaus, the left-handed three-point shooter, later
NBA
for the Boston
career.
Celtics, is on that team. Roy Marble was the leading scorer. They're all on that 87 team that went to the Elite Eight and lost to UNLV, with the Final Four looming. UNLV of Jerry Tarkanian went on to the championship game against Indiana in New Orleans. That's the last time Iowa has been to this point. How about that, going on 40 years,
I would
39
not have
years for the
guessed that.
Hawkeyes?
I
How
would
about
not have
that?
guessed 40 years,
How
39
about
years.
that? And by the way, Bruce Pearl on the set for Turner Sports. He was an assistant coach with Dr. Tom Davis and was reminiscing about that 87 team and that 87 season. So some magic for Ben McCollum and the Iowa Hawkeyes. We saw it
Yep.
again firsthand in Tampa, and it has
Yep.
continued. One more thought on that?
No, they've got it again. They're not the most ultra talented team in the world, and they're going to have their hands full with Illinois on Saturday afternoon. But man, give this team credit. Sturts, this kid was a Division II player. He came with McCollum from Division II to Drake. He then went from Drake to Iowa. Remember, McCollum has won 4 national titles at the Division II level. So this guy's had a meteoric rise in the last 3 years.
What did I hear in the post game? This is his 7th consecutive season because they won 20 games at Drake the last couple of years, and with the Division II wins, 7th straight season with 20 wins or more, Division II, Drake, or now at Iowa with what they were able to do. Incredible.
He's got what's called he has cemented what's called job security.
Oh, big time. Got an extension coming, or could end up somewhere else if they're not careful with the way that he has played. It is college basketball coast to coast. We are live tonight. TJ Rives and Jason Powers doing this live after the 4 wins, 3 of them by the Big Ten teams, Iowa and Illinois and Houston. Purdue, the early win in San Jose, followed by Arizona. Did I mention Arizona? That's a Western team. This is a good time to bring on the Western Bureau Chief. Hello, Matt Zemek, back with us on college basketball coast to coast. We love his insight on all things, including what we have seen tonight out of Arizona and the others. Welcome. Good to have you as we digest all of this. Just give me an opening thought or two, and then we'll get to what Arizona did to Arkansas. But give me an opening thought or two on what we've seen tonight.
Well, I was thinking, okay, the first 2 games, the early games are the undercards, and the late games are the real showdowns. Didn't really happen that way. It was exactly the inverse. The early games were the more compelling ones, but like the showcase games on paper were Arizona, Arkansas, and Illinois, Houston, and just with Arizona, West Coast Bureau Chief, like this was a glorified scrimmage, and TJ, I know you followed Arkansas this season.
Yeah,
I followed Arkansas as well. This was never an elite defense, and John Calipari never had elite depth. And, the Carter Knox injury midway through the season, that limited the Hogs a little bit. But, this was a 6-man rotation at the end. And you're just not going to win. You're just generally not going to win a national championship or make the Final Four with that. And Nolan Richardson's great Arkansas teams, 40 minutes of hell, no one was able to rotate guys in and out so that whenever guys were on the floor, they could go full tilt.
Yeah,
and they could be subbed out. This Arkansas team does not have that. So John Calipari's challenge is to be able to get like a 9 or 10-man rotation. So if there are 2 injuries to role players, such as a Carter Knox, such as a Nick Pringle, there's enough to withstand it. So Arizona in a completely different weight class. And I would just round out the West region and Arizona's outlook by saying, hey, Arkansas is a lot better than Texas, and Purdue struggled to break free of Texas. Like, there is zero excuse for Arizona to not put the hammer down against Purdue and finally get back to that Final Four for the first time in 25 years.
I'm just looking at a couple of the numbers. Again, 109 points tonight. Burries led them in scoring tonight with 23.
6 guys with 14 plus. How about that?
Wow. So
6 guys.
And they did
if you watch the game, it was a layup line in the second half.
Yes,
like
very much
just
so.
Dribbling through the lane and no resistance.
No resistance. They only shot 8 3-pointers. 8, made 5 of them, so they didn't have to. Didn't have to tonight. And Arizona has been loaded all year long, so we get that matchup with Purdue tonight. As we have said, Matt, and I want your thought also on this. The night also belongs to the Big Ten. The all Big Ten South Regional Final now is Iowa and Illinois. We get Purdue also on Saturday in a regional final. Big Ten flexing a little bit. But what about the games in Houston? We look forward to talking with Tyler Jones in a little bit. who was there, but give me your impressions on Iowa winning and no Houston in the Elite Eight, despite in a home away from home situation. Illinois was just better tonight. I'm saying that. What are your thoughts, real quick?
Milos Uzan just never really seemed to find the form that he had last season. It was really curious. Like, I'd be interested to know if he was carrying something, like an injury, a niggle, something like that. This was just not the player we saw the previous season, and that limited Houston. That held the Cougars back. But as for the Big Ten, obviously with Illinois winning, guaranteed to have a Final Four team from the South region, and you have Michigan, Purdue, and Michigan State alive in the other regions. So I'm gonna say this. Let's say Arizona or perhaps Duke wins it all, but you get the South region winner from the Big Ten, and if Michigan beats Iowa State, let's say that is the Midwest regional final, and it unfolds like that, and so Arizona or Duke might win the national title, but you'll have Michigan and the Iowa-Illinois winner there, with Purdue in the Elite Eight, and Michigan State potentially in the Elite Eight. I would say the Big Ten's the best conference in college basketball. So like I'm looking at that Michigan-Iowa State scenario in the Midwest final. Like that could be, for me, the final domino, because Arizona or Duke could win it all. And like that would just be a case of, the best team rising to the top. Like obviously with Duke, that doesn't say anything about the ACC, since the ACC got cleaned out, other than Duke. But Michigan, Iowa State could really wind up being that Big Ten, Big 12 decider. I think the Big Ten has the advantage at this point. But if Iowa State beats Michigan in a possible Midwest final, and Arizona gets to the national title game, it would wind up being pretty even overall. But if Michigan beats Iowa State, Arizona could win the whole thing, and I'd still say the Big Ten was the better conference.
I was going to say they're the only one that had six participants in the Sweet 16, and 3 of them have won tonight. So stay tuned on how many of the others can get through. Matt, Jason, you got something for Matt real quick?
I do. I got a Houston note that I think we have to call a spade, and I know we all like Kelvin Sampson and we all root for him, but their offensive philosophy and their offensive system is pitiful. I mean, they in all these runs, they've never had big men that can score. They always relied, they try to grind it out. We all think that's a great way to play, but we have to call a spade. His offensive philosophy is not very good at Houston, and the way he how he recruits these guys, I don't know, but he's not recruiting the right kind of guys that he's ever going to win a national title, because that performance tonight was putrid.
I will say this: they had Jawan Roberts a year ago, so they had an inside presence. But hold on, correct me if I'm wrong. They were in the national championship game and leading with about 2 minutes left. So I don't know that I go along, and I know it's late at night, with they're never going to win a national title that way. They almost won one a year ago, brother, that way. They're just not as good this year. They're not as big down low. Illinois took advantage of that, and they didn't shoot well at all tonight. I understand what you're saying, that philosophically you might have to play a little more up-tempo, have some more big men and try to score, but I get it on that. Matt, do you want to weigh in? You want to be like the deciding vote there on this, on what Illinois did to Houston tonight?
I mean, I kind of think you're both right. Like, he's had outrageous success, but like if you know you're a chess piece short, which Houston was, why aren't you going out and getting it, right? Like, come on, like this is big boy competition. Why not get that extra chess piece? So like, I think intellectually I'm siding with Jason, but the results speak for themselves. They've been really pretty good. I will say also a point in favor of Jason. Houston got to the Final Four last season by beating Rick Barnes, who's basically Kelvin Sampson Jr. in terms of having that same approach and not having an offense that's fully equipped to win in March. So Houston might have had the perfect Elite Eight opponent. Also, Houston had Oregon State as its Elite Eight opponent in 2021. So like when Houston has gotten to the Final Four, the bracket's been favorable.
Sure.
That lends something to Jason. Like
they had the game at home.
Chess piece.
Exactly. It's tonight in their building.
Yeah, they had the game as a home away from home game tonight.
Historically,
Yeah.
I would add historically, since we always like to drop a little history in here. You know, when Kelvin Sampson was at the Final Four in 2002 with Oklahoma, it was pretty similar. Oklahoma didn't have a low post hammer who could score. Like Jason Powers, Indiana Hoosiers had a field.
I'm not saying you got to have Akeem Olajuwon in the post, but they have nobody they can throw the ball to.
Right.
They cannot run a play for one of their big men.
I can't argue with that point. In Illinois, way too big, way too long with the long arms, and they disrupted everything tonight. Went on, what was it, a 14-0 run or 16-0 run?
17 or 18-0 run.
And that broke it open in the second half. Houston made it a little interesting with a couple of threes, but then Illinois had another 8-0 run late in the game, put it away. Illini back in the Elite Eight for the first time in 3 years. They were there 2 years ago, and UConn beat them in the regional final and went on to win the national championship, their second straight national title. That Illinois team had Terrence Shannon. This team has Wagler, the freshman guard, and has all those Eastern European name guys from Merkovic to the Ivasic brothers to Stojakovic.
But the blue might be the point guard. Was it Blackwell, the point guard?
Yeah. And so Boswell. Yes. So impressive for Illinois and for Brad Underwood. Matt, we're going to get you out of here in a minute or two. Anything else tonight? Anything else in looking ahead to tomorrow night? What else you got for us here this evening?
It's such a quick turnaround to Friday, so I won't say anything about Friday's games. You know, the review of those games will be the more interesting part. I know you guys have previewed these games earlier this week here at College Basketball Coast to Coast. I would just add that, you know, with Brad Underwood of Illinois and Tommy Lloyd of Arizona making the Elite Eight, they could both get to the Final Four, and they would be first-time Final Four coaches. You know, if Billy Donovan turns down North Carolina, and you get into those third, fourth, fifth choices, Underwood and Lloyd could get that Final Four check mark on the resume just in time to go to Chapel Hill. So that's a very interesting plot point to look at.
Here's a quick thing for you, and again, I defer to you on things in the West, etc. Can the argument not be made that Arizona's every bit the job that North Carolina is right now? What would you say to that, Matt?
Absolutely. And that's why I think Tommy Lloyd would be foolish to go. Like he has everything around him at Arizona. He's already ruling the roost in a cutthroat Big 12. Like he has already established himself at the top of the sport. The Final Four is the only thing missing on his resume. You know, this was Tommy Lloyd's first Sweet 16 win. Lost to Houston in 2022. Lost in 2024 to Clemson and Brad Brownell. Lost last year in the Sweet 16 to Duke. So he finally gets to the Elite Eight. If he gets to the Final Four and becomes the first guy since Lute to get to the Final Four in Tucson, like, you know, he doesn't have to pay for a margarita, a burrito, anything in Tucson. You're emperor of that, and you get all the golf you want to. I don't know if he plays golf, but if he does, I'm sure that he has all the free rounds he could possibly want. Really, if I'm Tommy Lloyd, why would I leave?
Right. The lure, I guess it would be
Randy Bennett of St. Mary's twice a year, just like the old days when he was Mark Few's assistant at Gonzaga. And I think that's why Randy Bennett went to ASU to go against Tommy Lloyd. Because he's not having Gonzaga in the Pac-12. He wants something to spice things up.
The lure of North Carolina, it's going to be strong for some, but if you're at a program like Arizona that, again, has got a lot of history behind it, and maybe you make them into a national championship team. I mean, maybe we're talking about a week and a half from now, they're playing in the national title game. I don't know that you got to go to North Carolina after that, because he doesn't have a tie there. If there's some kind of tie to the state of North Carolina or the ACC or something, that would be a little more intriguing as well. All right. Anything else?
And of course, TJ, the last time Arizona made the Final Four, it played Duke in the national title game.
Yep.
What if Arizona beats Duke in the national title game? I don't need to go to North Carolina. I already know how to beat Duke.
It's amazing. I've gotten the privilege of being at this event 23 times, I believe. I was at that Duke Arizona Final Four in Minneapolis in the national championship game, and it's hard to believe that's the last time Arizona has even been in a Final Four, much less the title game. That's what's riding on it for them on Saturday. Listen, you do great work with us. Promise me that we get you back here on the weekend to give us some more insight with whatever happens with Arizona and Purdue in that one and the other regional finals that'll be coming up on Sunday as well. Thank you, Matt Zimick. Late night here on a Thursday night as we're recapping the games in Houston and in San Jose. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
There you go. Mr. Powers, a thought from you on I asked him the same thing. Is the Arizona job really that much of a step down for Tommy Lloyd to stay there than the North Carolina job?
Not in this world that we're in now of NIL and all that stuff. And remember, Lloyd's a West Coast guy, been on the West Coast virtually all of his coaching career. So, I know you don't have to have a ton of high school relationships, but he doesn't have any, I don't think, on the East Coast when it comes to that. And he's recruited a lot of Australians and a lot of foreign guys. They like that sunshine of Tucson in the West Coast, a little more relaxed. The media attention in Tucson is nowhere near what it will be in Chapel Hill.
And by the way, they're the big dog in the rivalry with Arizona State. You go to Carolina, Duke is the big dog with Carolina right now.
Yep.
Whomever's going to take that job. So there's a lot of validity to you've built an empire in the West, stay in the West. He's a Western guy, too, was at Gonzaga forever as an assistant. So
speaking of Carolina.
Yes.
What a clown show Will Wade is.
Oh, my God.
What a clown that guy is. And, just an absolute disgrace to the coaching profession.
While we are here, we've been talking about how North Carolina treated Hubert Davis. You and I talked about that on the preview show that we did for the Sweet 16. And here is Will Wade in what now it's a total scumbag situation. You got Will Wade sitting and almost lecturing a reporter at the ACC tournament, almost like, how dare you ask me about the LSU job? That job's not even open. And he then goes on for 45 seconds to talk about the commitment of winning at NC State, players he's got coming back, the NIL commitment he has from the boosters. He's not going anywhere. We've just started this process, on and on and on. And it's obvious that even at that time, there was the talk and the conversation that he was going to possibly have the chance to come and be at LSU, because the president that's there at LSU was at McNeese, that hired him at McNeese, what was McNeese State University in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And the deputy athletic director
hired that guy.
They just hired as his guy. It's scumbag stuff from him, period. And so, this goes back to the larger point that the players for so long couldn't move and couldn't jump while these coaches have moved and jumped. So the carousel gets crazier with him leaving for a job that wasn't even open. They go ahead and fire Matt McMahon, the coach, after 2 seasons today, and hire Will Wade at the same time.
Yeah.
And so stay tuned. Stay tuned for whatever's going to happen at LSU. One thing is for sure, they're about the 5th or 6th program down the notch at best, maybe 7th or 8th at best in the SEC in the basketball. Maybe longer.
Yeah.
Maybe longer. All right, we're going to get to Tyler Jones in a moment from Houston with what he saw in person of the 2 Big Ten teams. We knew one of them had to be in the Elite Eight. That's Iowa. The other one, Illinois, very impressive with Houston. But Mr. Powers, let's talk about our friends at Go Sleeves while we have a moment. By the way, they are sponsors on college basketball coast to coast. These are great kinesiology sleeves that we have that go for the knees, the elbows, the calves. What are they going to do? Go Sleeves are going to help you out with a couple of different things. They're going to help you out with recovery, with soreness, increasing the blood flow to the knees, to the elbows, the joints. You will take a look here. If you're a weekend warrior and you're playing all these different sports, basketball, biking, pickleball, golf, any of it, you want these kinesiology sleeves from Go Sleeves to help you out on the court, on the bike trail running. It is go time with Go Sleeves, and we do have a promo code with Go Sleeves. Take 15% off right now with Go Sleeves with the promo code TJ. TJ gets you 15% off right now at GoSleeves.com. Therapeutic for the knees, for the elbows. I know you could testify as well. They help you out with the joints, with recovery time, with soreness, the whole bit. With Go Sleeves, Jason Powers, we recommend them highly as a sponsor on what we're doing on college basketball coast to coast.
No doubt. I wear it when I officiate on Friday nights, high school football, and it's just a good extra bit of support for your, again, for the stiffness and again, it doesn't eliminate it, but it just makes it a little more palpable and not as discomforting as it might be normally. So definitely
the kinesiology
elbow
technology.
Sleeves. They got elbow sleeves.
Wear that elbow sleeves if you got the pickleball elbow or the golf elbow. I mean, we're getting older, you and I. We're not old men yet. But if you're a weekend warrior, biker, runner, golfer, whatever, Go Sleeves, GoSleeves.com. Promo code TJ, get 15% off with Go Sleeves. Proud sponsor with us tonight as part of college basketball coast to coast. You know who else is here with us tonight? Tyler Jones, live from Houston, Texas, where he has seen the home away from home Cougars get bounced out by the Illinois Fighting Illini. Good to have you on college basketball coast to coast. Welcome in. Thank you for putting up with us late night. And you just saw it. Let's start with the second game first. You just saw what Illinois did. Why did they do what they did to Kelvin Sampson's Houston Cougars, in your opinion? Tyler, welcome.
Gentlemen, good to see you here. I know it's a little past Mr. Powers' bedtime at this point, but hey,
me too. My hand is up, but we're dedicated and we're working hard, and we appreciate you being with us.
There are 2 Benadryls waiting on me at home before I go to bed this evening when I depart the arena here. But tonight, guys, I said this going into the game. It was going to come down to the first to 50 was going to win this, and that's exactly what happened with Illinois getting there much quicker than Houston did with a 65-55 performance. And, you know, what's this saying that John Rothstein likes to point to in these tough defensive battles, that it's like a weekend with your in-laws? That's what tonight was. This was a slugfest. Shooting was so poor in that first half especially. And, you know, it came down to who played better defense. And there was an advantage that Illinois had with bigs that Houston lacked in size. And Houston was not getting up the three-point shots. They ended up going 9 of 32 from three-point range. Illinois ends up 9 of 23, but much more efficient with their 9 of 23 compared to the 9 of 32 from Houston. But the shots weren't falling, and it was a bad night for that to happen for Houston. They made some interesting runs late in the second half, but could never really close that gap, and Illinois really just inserted their will from the start of this one.
Let's just say this. You saw it firsthand. Illinois big, long with the long arms, and deep with several different bodies that could come off the bench and do the same thing, that help them defend, help them rebound. Jason went on a bit of a rampage about Kelvin Sampson's got to do a better job of getting big guys and have a low post option and a low post presence, something down there. How glaring was it to you, Tyler, in the arena, Illinois' size and how it affected things at both ends of the floor?
It almost felt like watching a Power 5 team take on a mid-major. It was that much of a differential this evening when it came to the bigs. And, you know, as I'm watching this game, Illinois only had 3 guys that were in double figures points-wise. But of those 3 guys, the efficiency. I like what I saw from Stojakovic with his 13 points that he had, going 5 of 8 from the field. He was solid tonight. Keaton Wagler was really good with his 13. Mirokovic with his 14, and he had 6 of 13 from the field, 10 rebounds. Like, he dominated this game inside. And, you know, I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, how did I not see this coming? Because these were 2 similar teams, and it was a clear mismatch that Illinois had inside that they exposed right from the jump of this game.
But Illinois showed me something tonight. They have not played that much intensity on defense in a long time. TJ and I saw them blow a 33-10 lead at UCLA that turned UCLA. Yep. Illinois has been known for the offensive side and not nearly as committed on the defensive side. This was the best I've seen Illinois play defense in multiple years in a big moment.
Yeah, and Brad Underwood, this is a gritty guy.
He's an offensive guy.
He's well, actually, he'll tell you he's a defensive guy first and foremost. Going back to his JUCO days, and I got to know him pretty good actually when he was at Oklahoma State, and that's what he prided himself on was defensive intensity. And he actually drew comparisons early in his career to Kelvin Sampson of all people. And tonight, it looked like that from Illinois. Of we wonder, okay, what's different now about Illinois compared to these teams that have come up short in the NCAA tournament time and time again? This is the farthest they've ever gone under Brad Underwood, and the difference is the defensive intensity is there of what Brad Underwood has been trying to preach for a long time, and these players are finally listening and reacting to it accordingly.
And they got in the Elite Eight a couple of years ago, as we keep mentioning. UConn beat them and then went on to a back-to-back national championship. So it doesn't mean anything to this present team, but Underwood's been there before. They're having a lot of success in the Big Ten, and we put it up on the screen here. It is an all Big Ten South Regional Final with Illinois now playing Iowa. Tyler, back up to the first game. How did Iowa pull it out in a game that really could have gone either way with Nebraska? The last 5-6 minutes belonged to Iowa tonight. Tell me what you saw.
Well, it helps when Nebraska only puts 4 players out on the floor.
Yes. Late in the game.
That was inexcusable. What I've been told was from a source that was a mistake from an assistant coach. And I don't know if that assistant coach is going to be employed by tomorrow at this point.
Can we say that? I understand the humor and the joke. Can we say this? The head coach can look out on the floor and realize he only has 4 guys standing there. And he took the blame. Fred Hoiberg fell on the grenade and took the blame and said, put it on me. And he's right.
I think Fred's an outstanding coach, but he got outcoached tonight. And I have been singing the praises of Ben McCollum as loud as anybody out there for quite some time, dating back to his days at Northwest Missouri State, winning national titles. And then he goes to Drake, brings some of those guys with him. They were awesome last year. And then he brings some of those guys again here to Iowa, and he outcoached Fred Hoiberg in every single way tonight. And even when they were down in that first half, they were never out of this game. They kept themselves in position. And this was a totally different win for Iowa tonight compared to the Florida game when they led almost the entire way, and Florida made it interesting there late. Tonight, total opposite. They were playing from behind most of the night. I don't think they led in this game till what, like 2 minutes to go?
Something like that, yes.
Yeah. They kept chipping away. They kept putting themselves in position and made some timely threes at the end of this game. And a big night from Sturtz, who had 20 points. Sage was really good off the bench with 19. Flo also off the bench, another good performance from him, 16 points. When we talk about this, is not just a college basketball discussion. This goes to the NBA and really all sports. Championship teams got to have X factors. You got to have guys that you don't expect night in and night out to make a difference. As an Oklahoma City Thunder fan, I'm forever thankful for Alex Caruso. And I can relate wholeheartedly to this. And that's what Iowa had tonight. I mean, you get 2 guys off the bench scoring 19 and 16, you're going to win a lot of basketball.
And Fulgaris is the player you're talking about, and maybe he is that X factor. He was huge at the end of the Florida game. He was huge again in this game with a couple of key moments.
6 to 10 from the field, 4-7 from 3.
Underrated passer, Jason. We can speak more to this. We saw him at Robert Morris. We saw him this weekend in Tampa. It continued tonight. Ben McCollum pushing the right buttons here with the Iowa Hawkeyes. By the way, they're the lowest seeded Big Ten team ever to make the Elite Eight. How about that nugget? No 9 seed or worse has ever made the Elite Eight for the Big Ten. Wow. Iowa has now done that. We'll see if they can take the final step.
Tickets can be had on the secondary market for Saturday night in Houston, boys. And
bye-bye Nebraska. Bye-bye Houston. Tickets got a lot cheaper.
I will tell you this. They will empty out the state of Iowa. They will be there. They will be there on Saturday.
TJ, do we have a ticket partner still?
We can. We could say Ticket Smarter and the Ticket Smarter mobile app. And they can use the promo code, I believe it's Hoops20, and take $20 off the order of $300 or more with Tickets.
Iowa fans, you can save a lot of money right now.
Iowa fans, you can save money. Illinois fans will be scrambling for the tickets, but this is a moment for them to maybe go to the Final Four. You weren't born the last time they had a shot at it. 1987 is the last time that Iowa had a
nearly
shot
40 years ago.
39 years ago, where the names were B.J. Armstrong again, Brad Lojas, and Roy Marble.
And I'm getting old. I turned 30 this year, guys.
I understand.
And Steve Alford was a .2 guard at Indiana in 87.
Yes, he was. And they eventually won that national title.
He's smart.
Iowa beaten by UNLV, who went to the Final Four, won the Final Four game, and then got into the title game. UNLV beaten by Indiana to go to the title game. Right. So anyway, back to Iowa. Great story here, and I would fully expect that half of that arena, maybe even 3/4 of that arena, is going to be Iowa fans. They are going to pile in there over the next 36 hours. Let
me say one more thing on Ben McCollum as far as my confidence level on this guy goes. I think that he is the best young coach in all of college basketball, and I will go as far to say to all the viewers of Tune In Radio's College Basketball Coast to Coast.
Yep.
That Ben McCollum will become, at some point, not today, the best coach in the country.
Wow.
We are seeing
national championship coach is your prediction. We will see it from him.
We will see it, and it can be done at Iowa with the resources. I don't know what their NIL situation is, but if they invest in what Ben McCollum is selling, and it should be a lot easier after Elite Eight run your first year now, watch out. And think about this too. The women's program, with what Caitlin Clark did for them, and they're doing pretty good in the tournament this year too. I think we're talking about Iowa City becoming one of the meccas of college basketball all of a sudden.
Love it. Okay.
Just a little context. January 11th, Iowa lost at home to Illinois 75-69. So they did play once in the regular season.
They played one time
in Iowa City. Illinois won by 6 and Iowa 6.
All right. So stay tuned on what that really means a couple of months later. We know this. They're playing for a slot in the Final Four in Indianapolis. Stay tuned. We say I believe this is correct. The last Iowa Final Four, well before Tyler was born, is 1980, and that is Lute Olson as the Iowa coach, and that is Indianapolis at the site. How about that? If Iowa somehow gets this on Saturday, it will be 46 years later, and they're going back to Indianapolis for the Final Four if they get it. Stay tuned.
Yes. More on it. Tyler.
Okay. And I also want to weigh in on Kelvin Sampson before we go.
Yeah, real quick. Go ahead, Jason.
I was going to say, anyway, is this the end of the road for Kelvin Sampson? What do you think?
So I've talked to a lot of people in the last couple of weeks about Kelvin Sampson, and the idea was last year with them not winning the national championship, this was his run-it-back chance. And had they beat Florida, he likely would have hung it up. Kellen would have gotten the job, but he did not want to go out like that. He knew the talent that was returning and felt like that he owed it to himself and to his team one more go at it. And it comes up short. It was a valiant effort. They had a really good year as a 2 seed, even if they technically underachieved, not getting to the Elite Eight. But they won a lot of games in the Big 12 this year. I think that this is probably the last we've seen of Kelvin Sampson. It's very rare, too, that you talk about getting, even though he didn't win tonight, the final game was in front of a home crowd in Houston. I think that's still a unique way for him. And Kellen, he is going to be a star coach someday. And I don't think he wants to hold Kellen back any longer. Kellen's turned down some Power 5 jobs that paid him good money to be loyal to his dad. And he said all the right things. He told the Tulsa World just a couple weeks ago, Eric Bailey, that basically he wanted to stay close to the family. He was not trying to chase dad off, and he knew he had a special thing going. But I think that Kelvin realizes, hey, eventually I got to hand things off. I got to leave this program in good shape for my son. And I think now's probably the time that Kellen takes over. Kellen is somebody that, he's been loyal to his dad for quite some time, been his top assistant. All these top players we talk about, the Kingston Flemings, the Jawan Roberts of the world that have come through this program over the years, the guy that recruited them for the most part was Kellen Sampson. So I know they have some money issues they got to work out that Kelvin talked about this season, but if they can make the funds work, I think Kellen can keep this thing going, and I think the future is his now.
All right, and that is the postmortem on a Houston season that ends 5 straight 30-win seasons. They got to the Sweet 16 5 times in a row as well, got to the championship game last year, but will get no closer than getting to the Sweet 16 this season, as Illinois has beaten them tonight. Tyler, great work late night in the arena. There,
still more work to be done, too, by the way.
At the Toyota Center. Thank you. We look forward to trying to catch up with you Saturday after either Illinois or Iowa has punched the ticket for the Final Four.
Yeah,
Did you find the Buckies last weekend?
What about the Buckies on the road, either from Oklahoma City or now trying to get to Houston?
So
did you make your way there?
No, I checked my email and I had forgotten that I had $50 in free play at the WinStar World Casino, the largest casino in the world. And I also had $25 in food vouchers. I said to myself, we can hold off on the Buckies tonight.
Quick detour. You went quick detour to the casino for the free.
Well, it was on the way.
For the free, was on the way. For the free play and for the free eats.
I walked out with $85.
Attaboy.
And
had a free meal.
And you had eaten. Yes.
Yes. So that's it was a successful night. Yes.
That is
the
a
slots
win-win.
And the roulette table did me well.
You, on that night, were like the Big Ten, because the Big Ten had a win-win tonight in Houston, Texas, and you include Purdue, they had a win-win-win tonight for the Big Ten. And stay tuned for Michigan and Michigan State on tap tomorrow night and what might happen in the Sweet 16. Anything else, Tyler, or are we good?
Will Wade. Can I chime in on Will Wade?
Yes, please.
We
both have already called him a slime ball.
We've already been killing him. If you want to jump on board, jump on board.
So, yes, Will Wade, scumbag. I mean, you can call him every name in the book. I mean, folks, do we realize this man emulated a photo of the great Jimmy V when he took the NC State job, trying to claim to be the next Jimmy V? And he's out within a year of that happening. How disrespectful. My goodness.
Can we
and then taking another man's job before he's even been fired.
Right. And so that they have to fire him to do it. Great for the coaching profession.
Now,
and by the way, let's go next level, because we're all in the media here on this, because there are some clowns that I could actually name right now. There are some clowns that are out there in social media and on TV that are actually lauding this and saying this is great for college basketball and it's going to stir it up and it's going to make LSU relevant. There needs to be more of what we're saying, which is this is low-class stuff. This is scumbag behavior by him.
I agree, but two things can be true. It can be entertaining. We can be entertained for the wrong reasons.
Right, true.
I think that athletic department, I mean, they are just saying, like, we don't care what we look like. We're just trying to win at all costs.
Right, with Lane Kiffin you're talking about.
Lane Kiffin, right. Kim Mulkey, and now with Will Wade here.
Well, here's what's interesting. Of the three of them, Kim Mulkey is light years ahead in terms of professional success. She's got multiple national championships at 2 different schools. This just into the newsroom. Lane Kiffin and Will Wade have never won anything. So stay tuned. Stay tuned on how all that works out.
Maybe we all need to move to Baton Rouge and cover that LSU athletic department, because that sounds like a lot of fun right now.
Reality show made to happen.
I need a Netflix series on the LSU athletic department.
Maybe coming.
Just go to the as Hans Gruber said in Die Hard, the FBI.
Yes, that's correct.
Come
that's correct. All of the mess.
And Bill Self's not going anywhere, just for the record.
Okay.
On the carousel, he's calling it.
What I would say from what I know, There's no announcement coming in the next couple of weeks. If there is an announcement, expected to come in the fall, and then players basically can't leave at that point. Too close to the season starts.
Right.
And one of Bill's guys, whether it's Jacques Vaughn or Jeremy Case, then slides in and takes the job. And Bill can have some administrative position of some sorts, go do the TV thing. Like, I think that's how Bill wants it. He kind of wants to be in control.
Well,
of sorts.
And we just saw Bruce Pearl do it with his son, Stephen Pearl. We saw Tony Bennett do it on the eve of the season with one of his assistants 2 years ago.
Yep.
So this is not unheard of that Self might do that. Listen,
his family wants him to hang it up. I know that much.
He's got heart problems as well. So, and he's got multiple rings while we're talking about national titles for your Jayhawks, Rock Chalk. You got nothing else left to prove. You can go do TV if you
He'd
would
be
like
very
to
good
do
on TV too.
So stay tuned.
He's got 3 rings as far as I'm concerned. They were the 2020 champs.
They didn't play a tournament that year. Sorry.
They were the number 1 undisputed team in every ranking. They did exactly what they were supposed to do.
Did they play the tournament? The tournament's
That's not their fault.
Different animal.
That's not their fault.
It's no one's fault, but they didn't play the tournament. You can't declare victory on something that didn't happen.
We declared champions in college football all the time.
This isn't UCF who's declaring a
national title that didn't happen.
Football.
Right, that didn't happen. Tyler, on that note, from the bowels of the Toyota Center in Houston, thank you once again. We'll catch up with you on the weekend when we know more about the Final Four, and we'll be together in Indianapolis, you and I. Great stuff tonight.
Jason, why are you coming to Indy?
Jason's got a 9 to 5 and other obligations.
I've never got to hang out with Jason.
I know, right?
You might have to make your way. You've been to the Tampa Bay area before. You might got to make your way here. Spring break still going on.
We will hook that up. I
put it this
way. We'll go to Buc-ee's, Jason.
There are Buc-ee's. Yes. There are Buc-ee's on the way to Florida from where you are. There are Cracker Barrels. There are casinos. There's all kinds of
I thought we canceled Cracker Barrel.
No. Cracker Barrel's far from canceled.
We'll get you some good Cuban food, some cafe con leche.
There we go. Bring it on. Bring
Jason,
him back.
Let's bring Jason to Daytona in August.
We might have to do that.
I would do that.
We might have to do that.
Okay.
Mr. Jones, thank you. Great stuff tonight.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You always. As he was
Kansas 2020 national champs.
He was there for the Big Ten Bash tonight as Illinois and Iowa got it done. Didn't you have Houston in the national championship or to win it?
I had them in the Final Four.
You had them in the final.
My national champion pick is still on their way with Arizona right now.
Arizona looking good. All right, Mr. Jones, have a good night.
Thank you, gentlemen.
See you later.
See ya.
There he goes. You and I have not mentioned Friday. Let's do it for a moment or two. You know what? Let's do it after we talk about our friends at Kalshi, another sponsor here on the program. The predictive markets are alive, like with who's going to be the North Carolina coach. Billy Donovan right now on the proposition voting seems to be the favorite. Okay. Get in on the predictive markets right now with Kalshi, the mobile app, or online, Kalshi, if you're only hearing us and not seeing us.
When's the next time we bomb the Iranian oil fields?
Yes, they have a countdown going on how much longer is the Iranian conflict going to last. Whether you're going to get on the predictive market about entertainment,
right,
etc. Do it with Kalshi, but the Final Four is in play, etc. And we even have a promo code. Get in and trade against the predictive market as well. Promo code TJ on Kalshi gets you $10 right now to trade with. Download the mobile app. It's free to get in. And again, it's not a sports book setting lines. It's people like you and me, Jason, that are actually voting. It's the public vote. They were voting on the Oscars. They're voting on, who's the baseball MVP going to be? Is it going to be Aaron Judge, etc.? Take part at Kalshi. Promo code TJ. Get you $10 to trade with at Kalshi. They are sponsors at college basketball.
I got a
coast to coast. Yes, sir.
Got a coaching question for you.
Yes. Back to the carousel.
Yes. Is there a way in the world that North Carolina State would hire Hubert Davis?
How hilarious would that be? He can't take that job as a Tar Heel through and through.
I mean,
after he's been snubbed, and he
said he wants to coach right now.
His statement was, I wanted to continue to coach this team, and you're right. In a follow-up interview, he has said he wants to continue to coach.
I mean,
Maybe soon, but let's talk about, because we have not yet, we are going to get this bracket of death tomorrow night in Washington, D.C. Duke, St. John's, UConn, Michigan State. Give me a quick thought as we resume the Sweet 16 now about, 19 hours from now as we do this live.
UConn, Michigan State, I would say the key to the game is how UConn handles Jeremy Fears. Do they make him a scorer, or do they allow him to be the distributor that he wants to be? Again, 16 assists in the last game, set a record for Michigan State. That's, to me, the key of the game. And UConn has got to get some production out of Solo Ball and Demery, the two guards. I mean, Caravan's going to be good, and we think Terrace Reed will be okay, but they got to get some production out of Ball and Demery to offset what Jeremy Fears is going to bring to the table. That's for me.
Duke and St. John's, Titanic in terms of television audience.
Yeah.
Again, it's a Friday night, so that's going to be a little bit of a struggle as opposed to if it had been a Thursday night or a Saturday night. Friday night, not as good a TV night, but Duke is the number one brand in college basketball on love-hate. St. John's is the number one media market. The Johnnies, with a great win over Tyler's Kansas team in the final seconds in San Diego. Duke had their problems with Siena in the opening game, had more problems with TCU, but pulled away much quicker in that game in the second half. Boozer's the presumptive, Cam Boozer, presumptive player of the year. What a showdown. What a showdown for those two games in Washington, D.C.
Will Boozer and Ejiofor match up with each other in the post, or will they each team figure out a way to get somebody else to guard them to preserve some energy and to preserve foul trouble and all that stuff? And I think you're going to see St. John's really pressure Caden Boozer, the point guard, the brother, with no Foster. I think they're going to really put a lot of pressure on those guards.
And by the way, you mentioned Caleb Foster, the guard. Didn't John Shire declare 3 weeks ago after the North Carolina game, broken foot, not going to play in March, and now we're hinting that he might play in a Sweet 16 game on March 27th. He's not playing.
He ain't playing tomorrow.
Maybe he could play. We're being orthopedist again here on College Basketball Coast to Coast. Maybe he could play in the Final Four.
Maybe.
If it's better 10 days from now. But still, if you're thinking about your future, do you want to be out there on a broken foot that's not fully healed?
Yeah. No, he's not.
We don't know. But this gamesmanship of he might play tomorrow night, you and I ain't buying it.
Not a bit. Tomorrow night's gonna be Ricky P back in DC, baby.
It's something else with having him there. Oh, you got the outright upset for St. John's. By the way, in Chicago, Michigan battling Alabama, Iowa State, and Tennessee. Both SEC teams have their work cut out for them. Yep. As Michigan tries to make the Elite Eight with the devastating season they've had, and Iowa State was really good even without Jefferson, speaking of injuries, and his ankle injury. Iowa State saying Jefferson is questionable. Yeah. It's believed to be a high ankle sprain. Even if he plays, he's probably not effective.
You and I both have seen enough high ankle sprains. You ain't playing in a week after a high ankle sprain.
Not going to be easy if that's the case, and Michigan has been tremendous. Can Alabama contend? Can they hang in with them? Stay tuned for tomorrow night. I think we're good for tonight. In the recap mode, stories again, all Big Ten in the South with Illinois and Iowa and Arizona and Purdue as the 1 and the 2 in the West Regional in San Jose make their way. Those teams will match up on Saturday, and I'm going to double check before we leave.
Is that like a 5 and 8 o'clock tip times, 5 and 8, something like that?
I believe they have already announced the tip times. I will double check here on what they did or did not announce, if they already have, with this. While we sit here for a moment, I think CBS has put it out what times the games will be. Iowa, Illinois will be up first, 6:09 Eastern time. Okay. And then just before 8:50 Eastern time, 5:50 in the West, will be the matchup Arizona and Purdue. So the San Jose games in the West, the San Jose game in the West on Saturday is the late game, just before 9 Eastern time, 6 local time.
Yep.
Iowa and Illinois will be up first, and that's for 2 spots in the Final Four. Brother Powers, great job tonight. Why don't we reconvene? We'll do this again tomorrow night after the games in D.C. and Chicago. Thank you, sir. Great stuff as always.
See you tomorrow night.
Thank you to Matt Zemek with us, the Western Bureau Chief of College Basketball Coast to Coast. Tyler Jones was right there in Houston as well. Thank you for finding us on the social platforms, on Apple, Spreaker, Spotify, on podcasts. If you're listening on podcast, it is a video show on YouTube, Twitter X, Facebook. If you're watching us, it is a pod on the pod outlets and also on the TuneIn streaming channel. Go find us on TuneIn, free to hear on the College Basketball Coast to Coast streaming channel. For now, we are good on a Thursday night. Back tomorrow night after the games in D.C. and Chicago on College Basketball Coast to Coast.